So another thing I liked about the book is I feel like this book can really help people develop friendships if they can think from this perspective. And one thing we live in this world is sort of a friendship vacuum. Like just most adults don't have friends statistically, especially adult men. And so how does low anthropology, from your perspective, help people to create friendships? And then if you got some, to turn them deeper than that surface level of, I'll talk to you about the weather and this weekend sports game.
Yeah, I love this aspect of low anthropology, and I think it's of very urgent import, as you mentioned. I don't think the lack of friendships among especially grown men in America is not, again, it's not a neutral thing. It wreaks absolute havoc and destruction, because it means that men are alone and despairing, and there's no intimacy. It's a total breakdown, in fact. So I don't think it's like some kind of just quirk of our society. A Low anthropology acknowledges that friendships and intimacy, love is it travels on the rails of a low anthropology. That's what I've been saying. What I mean to say is that if you go to a wedding, any wedding, basically under the sun, and where they have groomsmen toasts and bridesmaids toasts, and you go to the rehearsal dinner where that happens. I mean, not everyone tradition does that, but I go to a lot of these because I work with college students where I used to, and so I'm involved in a lot of weddings. And you listen to the toasts, and the women, for example, they say, yes, the bride is beautiful and she's talented. We all know that. But let me tell you what she's really like. Let me tell you about this thing that happened our junior year of college. Let me tell you about in high school when we got pulled over by the police. Or let me tell you about what she's like in her sweatpants on a Tuesday night. It's not the moments of pride that forge that relationship. It's the moments of either mundanity or, in fact, adversity, the weakness. And people feel known. They feel respected and admired for their accomplishments, but they feel known and especially loved when you see what they're less proud of, and you're there. This is why, because the guys get up there and they just sort of roast the groom, and they basically say, he can't believe anyone's marrying him. I love this guy. He's the most loyal person ever, but I only know that because of what happened that one Tuesday in 1994, when we really had one too many or something like that. It's always this is why people make some of their best friends usually in high school and in college, because you're kind of suffering together, or at least you're around each other enough to see the bad, the good as well as the bad. And so, yeah, I think that there's a lot of buzzwords today about vulnerability, but some of them are really good, because relationships that don't involve vulnerability don't involve any kind of love or intimacy. And so that's what a low anthropology says. If I want to get to know you, if I want to feel close to you, I need to know not what you're most proud of. I need to know what you're least proud of, or I need to see you in your unguarded moments with your makeup off. I need to see you, let's go on a hunting trip, or let's go on a guy's weekend where we somehow can get past the glad handing and the sort of ribbing and get to experience something together where we are sort of brought together, not at a point of strength, but of weakness. I use my example, like I'm part of an exercise group that just men, and we work out in the morning, and the real gift there is the friendships, because you're sort of, people are of various fitness levels, and some guys are really in great shape and some guys are not in good shape, and sort of our giftedness separates us from one another. But at the end of the workout, when we're all sweaty and exhausted, we're all high-fiving and talking about what's gone on, and we feel close and we feel like we've survived something together. And that's where the relationships are formed, and all of a sudden we're talking about the most serious things in our lives too. So that's
What's
probably
your workout group called?
F3.
I'm also an F3. What's your nickname?
I'm
What's your nickname?
Soapbox. I'm Soapbox.
Soapbox?
Yeah.
Soapbox.
I think it's one
Okay.
of the reasons why I love that group. I
Yeah.
mean,
Oh, yeah.
I think that's what's
No.
really going on in that group.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that are going on, but that's one of them.
No, as you were talking earlier in your thing, I was like, oh man, be good to talk about F3 right now and about how F3 enables a low anthropology. So,
It does, under the guise of like, we're all going to get better and we're going to be great
oh,
and we're
yeah.
going to be men. But in practice, they're giving you a name that's slightly embarrassing. That's important because it can't be like the best guy ever, like, speedster. It's got to be something like Soapbox, because I'm a preacher. I get called Soapbox, and
I'm Rev Sox because I'm a pastor who was a Yankees fan.
Rev Sox. I mean, that's good though.
Rev Sox, so yeah,
I love it. Rev Sox.
yeah, no, yeah, no, and F3 is fantastic, and it breaks you down. I think one thing about the workouts that are great and why it testifies to what you say, you will look like an idiot at some point during your F3 journey. There will be a point where you will be the slowest guy or the one who does everything wrong, and everyone will mock you and make fun of you, and it will bond you with that group of men like nothing else in the world.
Yeah, it's so true. I found in practice, it's one of the things that I feel like that is it tests, while also doesn't ignore people's giftedness and encouragement and all the encouragement that comes out of it. Though people feel accepted, and men do, at least. I don't know how it works in other situations, but certainly it's how it's worked for me.
So if you're in F3, Low Anthropology by Soapbox.
Come on, guys.
Recommended by Rev Sox.
They're actually reading. They're actually my local F3 chapter is reading this book, which cracks me up.
Now that we're having this conversation, I was thinking I am going to start a read through of Low Anthropology in F3 New Orleans, and we're. I
thank F3 Seville in the acknowledgments.
Okay, so there we go. No, I'm with a brother here. I didn't even know I had. So F3 is touching everywhere. So.